part of this, but it is the December 2023 live stream, and I'm here for the first live stream in North Carolina. So I am currently in Matthews, which is like the far southeast corner. It's where I ended up today because of my job yesterday. You guys, we'll just have to deal with the lighting. I'll explain a little bit why I'm in the car rather than at a co-working space. So just before we get started, TMUSA says Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, 2 days. Personally, I haven't gotten that much into the Christmas spirit myself. I haven't even thought much about it. Merry Christmas, Greg. Yeah, I just haven't, between court stuff and then moving down here, and then I've started working more. There's just more jobs down here. I haven't even been able to think about Christmas. And because I'm obviously not decorating, I don't have anyone to buy gifts for, it's not something that I think about nearly as much as most people do. And the other thing is, too, I haven't heard that much Christmas music. See, where I'm from, the oldies station that my mom listens to on the radio, starting, I think it's December 1st, they play Christmas music 24/7 through December. And so I'm used to listening to that, and haven't been around that either. SB says, so you're in North Carolina. Yeah. I'm in Matthews right now. It's a suburb of Charlotte. And I've been down here since November 30th. I left Ohio on the 28th and kind of slowly made my way down. So I'm living in Charlotte proper. I'm out here right now because I went down. I came out here to go to the gym and take a shower. So I'm actually here right now. Probably will end up downtown by the end of the night. So yeah, I mean, first off, guys, yeah, I'm in North Carolina, and hey, Max, planning on being here until probably April or May, just depending on the weather. To give you guys an idea, right now, it's 63 degrees in Charlotte right now. It is 47 degrees in Columbus. So it's a huge difference. I mean, really the main reason that I came down here. As you see, I'm sitting in my car. I don't even have a coat on. It's actually a little stuffy in here. Like, it's great. So just to address the issue of why I'm not in the co-working space, I will have a co-working space here in a few days. Basically, the space that I have in Columbus that I've been using since June, they own a bunch of co-working spaces here in town. They're a different brand, but we're supposed to be able to use them interchangeably. Well, the guy that set me up, who was supposed to switch everything over, did that, and I'd been using the co-working spaces down here, and then on like the 10th or the 11th, my key just randomly stopped working. Like it's a digital key through an app on my phone, and it just wouldn't let me in. And so it just so happened the owner stopped by that night, and I talked to him about it, and they got it sorted out the next morning. But essentially what happened was so I didn't actually pay for this month. That's a whole other story. But I'm supposed to have till the 15th to pay without a late fee. And there's a late fee if it's after the 15th. So this happened on the 10th, and I was supposed to, so I was using it up until the 10th. I actually used it the morning of the 11th, and then they were supposed to, so it was supposed to just switch over seamlessly, and then the guy that set me up left within those 2 weeks, and apparently he didn't do anything right. So I talked to the new community manager, who is telling me like this whole big story about like how everything was set up wrong. And essentially it came down to, they're switching over to a new system, so they can't sign me up right now. They're going to sign me up for the new system in January, and she said it will probably be a little bit before that. But I haven't heard back from her so far. And I have to actually end my co-working membership with the place in Columbus and then come down and be a member here and then switch it back when I go back, which is not how that was supposed to work at all. And so it's created a lot of problems. Basically, they didn't give me the option to continue using the space for the rest of the month. So until I hear from her, I'm literally just in the car. Like, I don't have a kitchen right now or anything like that. With that being the case, though, it's the 23rd. She told me I would definitely hear from her, like, sooner rather than later, and I haven't. I'm actually thinking about getting a co-working space somewhere different since I have to switch over down here. And I found a place that is a little more expensive, but I believe I can sleep in the parking garage. They have free parking. I think I can sleep in the parking garage. The advantage of that is that I'm not driving back and forth so much, because I kind of go out to the suburbs during the day to like work and live, and then at night I drive into the city to the co-working space and do whatever else I need to do, and then to go to sleep I drive back out into the suburbs. So I think I can cut down a lot on gas if I just sleep in the parking garage of this place. And I have a legitimate reason for being there at night in the car, because I have 24-hour access to it. And I found a place that also has showers, which means that I don't have to travel to the suburb to get a shower. Essentially, I can stay in uptown Charlotte like all the time and would only need to leave if I needed to leave for like work or something. I think that'd save me a lot of money on gas. So it is more expensive. It's $199 versus the $109 that I've been paying, but I think it's going to be worth it. And probably right after Christmas I'll sign up, and just do that way. Greg Schroll says, I'm not in the Christmas spirit either. I'm trying to sell my condo and the buyer's lender keeps delaying for idiotic reasons. I haven't dealt with that myself. I would probably be impatient. I would say if there was more than like 2 or 3 delays, unless you're like desperate to sell, I would just be like, look, dude, get it together or I'm just not going to sell it to you. Or even work out some kind of, either tell him he has to pay more, or for, your time and the delays, or set some kind of timeline or deadline. I don't know if there's a way that you can do that, like with the legal paperwork, but just be like, for each day that passes, you owe this additional amount, and hopefully that would give them some motivation to do something. But yeah, I haven't dealt with that because obviously I haven't bought a house or a condo or anything. My parents didn't either, because my mom just inherited the house from my stepdad when he died, and my dad, well, same deal. He inherited the house from his parents. And in fact, I don't even know how his parents got the house, because if you look it up in the courthouse, it says they paid $10 for it. Pretty sure that's not actually what they paid. So, I mean, it was 1954, but I think a house was worth more than $10. I think my guess is whatever amount you put down, you were taxed on it. So they probably just put the lowest possible thing on there to be taxed on. But I have no idea what they actually paid. But oh yeah, let me show you guys this before I forget. So we've got drinks of the day. I did not have time to run to the gas station to get anything. They do have some different drinks down here. That's a reprieve because I'm tired of everything diet, but that's gonna have to be for next month's live stream. So I did have Wendy's for breakfast / lunch. It was breakfast for me, but it was at like 1 p.m. This is Mellow Yellow Zero Cherry, and I still have a little bit of this left. This is a Quick Trip. It's like Sheets of the South. And also, this is just Coke Zero. Um, I got it last night, and I try to always keep something in the car until I get back into a co-working space. I kind of just have to go to the gas station and grab something to drink, um, until I can have a place to like store a 2 liter. But yeah. So what else is new? Oh, I'm not gonna put the person's name out there because they asked me not to give them a shout out, but somebody did donate $20 today, on PayPal. So I really appreciate that. Um, I'll tell you guys a bit more about what I've been doing. I'm working, so things might be slightly better with money because I do have money coming in at least, but still really behind, struggling on stuff. Yeah, I just told you guys that I was going to tell you something before I forgot, and then I forgot what it was. So, what was I talking about? Oh my God, I don't know. One thing I'll mention is I know you guys can tell that I seem to be in a little bit better mood. Um, and it's not like anything's better. There's like the lawsuit stuff, there's money issues, but it's the weather. Um, I'm just not miserable because, like, even though it does get cold at night, it's like tolerably cold with a coat and my sleeping bag. Um, I just don't live in a place that's not meant for humans anymore. Um, Ohio, where because, well, for example, today is December 23rd. December 23rd last year in Ohio, it was negative 24 degrees. It's 63 degrees today. That's how much of a difference there is. It's like an 80-degree difference. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's 47 in Ohio. That was an exceptionally cold day last year, but God, that was terrible. And I mean, those just happen every once in a while. I don't want any part of that. So whether it's like seasonal depression or seasonal affective disorder, or whatever it is that gets me down more than usual in the winter, I'm not so much dealing with that right now. And I'm hoping it stays that way, basically. I'm just going to delay going back to Ohio until it gets tolerably warm up there, April or May, and I'll just watch the weather. Yeah, so that's the co-working space issue. I also told you guys that I'm working more. I was not getting any TaskRabbit tasks in Columbus at all. And right before I left, I opened up my availability. And, oh, you know what? Let me get back to that. I just remembered what I was telling you guys. So somebody donated on PayPal. Ad-wise, December is the biggest month for how much you make off ads. Now, I'm not blaming anyone because I know it's because I haven't been making videos. But my ad revenue has just been terrible this year. I've been making like $12 or $15 a month, where like usually I make between 50 and 100. And it's just because I'm not putting out content. I get that, but they've also cut the rates that you get. So anyway, I was at about $67 for the month, and I think that includes last month. Hey, Merry Christmas, well-behaved wallet. Yeah, and I am in North Carolina. I'll talk to you about that in a second. So I'm trying to get over that threshold because there's a $100 threshold for payout. If I can get to $100 in ad revenue, super chats and stuff by the end of this month, then there are going to, okay, So then when it gets paid out in January, then I'll have an extra $100 or so coming in. And everything's helpful right now. So yeah, let me get back to these comments, and then I'll get back to talking about what I've been doing for work. Well-Behaved Wallet says, just catching up now. Are you in North Carolina? I am. Nothing in the background really to tell you that, but you see me here in December in a t-shirt, so I'm definitely somewhere warm. TMUSA, cloudy, foggy, and 49 in Iowa today. Similar climate to Ohio, but no other place feels like home, so here I still am. I mean, I don't feel like this is like home for me. I kind of just exist here, and I don't really have any connection to it. I'm really only here for the weather. But I also don't really feel at home either, like in the area that I'm from. It's a different feeling than I have here, but I guess I don't have the roots that you do. Let's see. Oh, Well-Behaved Wallet says, yes, ad revenue is terrible across the board. You know, I've been so busy, I haven't had time to look into what was going on. I assumed that it was a combination of me not posting videos, or very much anyhow, and that the actual ad rates have been cut, because my CRM has been cut a lot. I did notice that. I mean, it's like 1/10 of what it used to be. And again, I don't know if that is just rates. I don't know. I know they also changed my category of my channel, from a finance channel to like people and vlogs, which I didn't do that. YouTube did that automatically, and I think it's based on the type of content that I'm making. But I do know that the ad rates are lower, because like finance is one of the higher ones as far as ad rates. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. Oh, and that reminds me. Okay, guys, two things going on that I can think of. Number one, I did make a video and I'm trying to edit it. I really wanted it to be up before this video. That clearly didn't happen. It's about half edited. I'm having an issue right now with not having access to a co-working space, and with also the libraries being closed for the holidays and weird hours for everything. And I'm having a hard time finding a place where I can just sit and edit. Now, I have some lawsuit stuff I got to do. I'm waiting until the day after Christmas, because I just don't want to let her ruin my Christmas, and I know that's why she probably just mailed me something. So whatever it is, I'm waiting until the day after to open it. So whatever that is, I'm going to also have to take care of, or respond to, or whatever, and I'll probably be upset for a few days. But after that passes, hopefully I will be able to finish this by like the end of the year. And it's another vlog. So, you know, I know it's not normally the kind of content that I make, but right now that's about the best I can do as far as getting anything out. So hopefully that'll be up by the end of the year. The other thing is, as I very slowly get caught up with my life, I have a ton of videos, especially video from 2021 that I shot of a ton of different things. And I need to find a way to put that up. I want to put it on the channel, but at the same time, like, it doesn't really make sense. Like, you know, if I put up a video of like my living situation from the fall of 2020, that doesn't make sense to go up right now. It's just kind of weird. So I'm trying to figure out a way to separate it. I don't want to put it on Patreon because I have patrons on there. But there's only, I think, 3 or 4 people. And so only 3 or 4 people would see it. And the other thing being that they aren't at the category where they get like access to exclusive stuff, like, because there's different levels, and they're at the one level where they're just there to support me. Like they give me like $1 a month. And yeah, so anyway, I don't know how exactly to do that. So what I'm thinking about doing, and I don't have time for this right now, but this would be in the next 3 to 6 months, is taking a lot of that old video footage, getting it off my phone, editing it, all of that stuff, getting it off my phone, getting it uploaded, and putting it under channel memberships. Because YouTube has been trying to get me to set up channel memberships for a long time. And I think what I would do is I would probably set it to where those old videos would be under channel memberships. And I might have it at like $1.99 a month to get access to those. So you'd only be able to get access to it if you were a channel member. And then I can set it low so that it's like $1.99 a month to get access. So it's kind of like YouTube's version of OnlyFans. I just realized that. That's really weird. It's not that kind of video though. But because here's the thing. I mean, I'm struggling a lot. I want my YouTube channel to grow. Obviously, in order to do that, I need to be able to have the time to work on it, to make videos, to edit them, and to get stuff up consistently. But it's also been shown that there are a lot of people who do care and they want me to succeed. You know, whether it's you guys giving a super chat or somebody sending me a PayPal donation, or even just the fact that you guys show up here every month to talk in the live streams. Like, and I know a lot of us are not well off. I mean, nobody is right now. But even before that, before inflation and everything, I know a lot of people found my channel because they're also struggling with debt. But the channel is growing, even though I haven't been able to post much. And that's a really good sign that when I am able to post, it's going to grow pretty quickly. I'm almost at 3,000 subscribers now. And if you think about that, I mean, let's say that let's just say 3,000, so it's an even number. Let's say I get to 3,000 subscribers. Let's say that 10% of those people would pay the $1.99 a month to get access to those videos that are exclusive to the channel membership, that are there just because they're like outdated, or, you know, I got around to editing them years later after the fact. If those were, so if we had 10% of 3,000 is 300, and then essentially $2 each, so that's $600 a month, which would not only, I mean, that would make my student loan payment. You could do that. But not only that, but it would mean that I would get money from YouTube every month because I'd consistently hit that threshold, and those channel memberships would add to the AdSense. So anyway, it's just an idea. It's a few months off, and it depends on like all the lawsuit stuff, but that's what I'm thinking is I want to get this stuff off my computer, off my phone, but there was so much content that's already been filmed, just need the time to actually get it up there. And I thought if I set it really low so that it's not too much of an impediment to people, like if you could give $1 or $2 a month, that would be something that wouldn't be too burdensome on people. But just, it would be like a numbers game. As the channel gets bigger, people are able to get access to those videos, or even just to do what the people on Patreon are doing. just giving $1 a month just because they want to support me. I'm not asking everybody to do it. I know not everybody would want to, nor would everybody be in the position to. But, you know, if there are a smaller number of people who do want to do that, then that would help me out a lot to get a bill paid every month. All right, so I'm getting behind on messages here. New Day Revolution says it's 75 in Orlando. I'm sweating like a pig in a wig. If it does end up getting... Hey, we got 31 people on. Great. If it does end up getting too cold here, because January is the coldest month in North Carolina. So I'll see how that goes. But if it gets too cold, I might head further south. I've got a place I can go in Tampa, and I've got a place I can go in Orlando. Or, not Orlando. Atlanta. So, you know, we can kind of see about that. TMUSA, so would you prefer a super chat or a PayPal donation? Okay, so here's the complicated thing about that. I guess overall I'd probably prefer PayPal. But the thing about it is, PayPal I can get access to immediately. Like it sends it over, and then I can just like cash that out and transfer and have it immediately. Super Chat, the way that works is it adds it to my AdSense balance. And then once my total AdSense balance hits $100 at the end of a month, however months it takes to get to that point, then the following month on the 21st, or sometimes they take a couple days after that, then that'll be sent to my account. So I guess I would say PayPal, just because of the easier access to it. But if you do a super chat, that's okay too, because that ends up meaning that I get paid out faster, because it builds to that $100 payout threshold. John Doe says, "Hi Mark, what's going on?" Well, just really getting settled into North Carolina. So that's the main thing right now. And trying to work as much as possible. Well-Behaved Wallet says, "I was reading the earlier comments that mentioned North Carolina." Oh, it mentioned NC. That was the clue. Oh yeah, New Day Revolution. CRM. Yeah, cost per meal, which meal in Latin is 1,000. And Well-Behaved Wallet says, "How long have you been in North Carolina? Do you like it?" So I've been here almost 30 days. Let me know if you guys would like this. I actually thought about making a video about my impressions so far of North Carolina. Just something like, I don't know, something along the lines of 30 days in North Carolina, my first reactions, or something like that. Because I've noticed a few things down here. Differences, and just, I don't know, some other things too. And I mean, the main thing's the weather. And it's good that, like, there seems to be more work on TaskRabbit. I mean, my theory has always been that the reason that TaskRabbit slows down so much in the winter is because it's just too cold. And maybe that is the case, because it does seem like it's picked up. Like I guess I got sidetracked. We'll talk about this in a bit, but when I switched my map over from Columbus to North Carolina for TaskRabbit, I was booked for 3 solid days out as soon as I turned the app on. Now, that hasn't been consistent, but I went from getting nothing in Columbus to like getting, it was like a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all booked. I was worried I wouldn't get any work down here. Um, let's see. How long have you been? Oh yeah. New Day Revolution. Oh, okay. Thanks. Oh yeah. We were about to die. Salute you. Says you kept your end of the deal, and I just found out about this. Yeah. Do you mean about the live stream? Because I know you commented that you could do the 23rd. I also put that poll out, and the 23rd was like overwhelmingly the option that worked best for everybody. Okay, so SB says yes, a North Carolina video would be good. And TMUSA, I'd love a video about your first 30 days in North Carolina. So I will go ahead and make it, I think. Like I said, I have a lawsuit thing I have to deal with right after Christmas. That might take me through the end of the year, just depending on what it is that I need to respond. But I think that, yeah, because like the 30th of this month will be the first 30 days that I've been here. So yeah, I've made some observations, and I have some questions, I think, about some things. I mean, one thing that I will tell you guys right away, and I'll mention this in the video, this place is a lot less southern than West Virginia. I mean, it's a lot further south, but the stereotypical like country redneck stuff that you think of the South, that's just really not here at all. Like, it's few and far between I even see a pickup truck. And here I am from West Virginia, where it looks like the land that Larry the Cable Guy lives in. And I haven't seen anything like that around here. I'm really surprised by that. I mean, you think the further south you go, the more redneck it would get, and it's just not. Makes me have to stop and think about what's wrong with West Virginia. But, so the stuff like that, and some other observations. I am sorely disappointed that they do not have Grappico here. I was hoping that I was far enough. Yes, gee, oh my god. I was far enough south to find it. It is. I only like the diet version, but it's like it's purple drink. It's like grape pop. It's amazing, and I've only found it in Alabama. So I was hoping I was close enough here, but I haven't found it in any of the stores. Even the more local ones like Food Lion, can't find it. So, oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I'll try to do that. I got that one thing I got to deal with a lawsuit, and then like, I think I can do it after that. I want to film it as close to the 30th as possible. That way, it is like a true 30 days. Now, as far as working, I told you guys that I'm really doing pretty well on TaskRabbit. I've had to lower my rates a little bit, and I'm not consistently booked, but I am bringing in some money. And I mean, so far this month, it's only been like $700 and some from TaskRabbit. Plus, I did get a $60 cash tip, but I mean, I got literally zero in Columbus on TaskRabbit, so it's a lot better than that. I've also been doing Instacart and DoorDash, and to be fair, they're pretty much dead. I don't know if anybody else does that, but here and there I'll get a decent order, but yeah, I mean, it's to the point I'll be on for hours and I'll get like 1 or 2 orders a day I'll actually accept. So those apps are just kind of dying, and it's becoming more like I'm going to have to do something on my own. I've applied for a few jobs too. Oh, yeah, guys, and I know I mentioned it last time, my IKEA thing. They did finally email me, and they rejected me. I was kind of surprised. They had talked like I got the job, but I'm not upset about it because, well, I mean, I'd already told you guys I was going to have to turn it down because between interviewing and waiting for them to respond, I'd actually moved, so I wouldn't be able to do it anyway. I am trying to figure out. Well, I'm trying to figure out a few things, but I'm not opposed to working a job down here. I just haven't found anything that would work with my schedule and the TaskRabbit schedule. It's kind of the same as Columbus here, where a lot of jobs pay like $17 an hour, and I don't want to take a job that pays that, and then that conflicts with my TaskRabbit stuff, because I know that's going to happen, and I'm going to be working a shift for whatever job I take, making 17 an hour, and then my and then I'll have to like turn down work that would have paid a lot more, and I know I'm going to get upset about that, so I don't want to put myself in that situation. But at the same time, I haven't found a way to get more leads for TaskRabbit. I did some Facebook advertising last week. I only had to add up for 2 days. Got some views, but no one contacted me. And I've advertised on Nextdoor, and I'm not getting any responses there. I know I need to get some money together and get some, at least, business cards and some door hangers made up, but that's going to be, I'm going to have to get that money first, and I've got things I got to pay off before I can do that. So I also need to see if there's a small business development center here in Charlotte. There probably is. But anyway, well behaved. Well, it said, I'd love a North Carolina video too. Did IKEA tell you why they rejected you? That's a bummer, but like you said, you would have to reject it anyway. I don't think they did. I mean, I can at least say that they did email me, which is more than you get from most places. They did say that I wasn't selected, and I don't think they said why. I mean, if they did, I don't remember what they said, but I don't think they actually said. So, yeah, I don't know. Also, guys, I'm fighting with the sun here, as you can tell. This is with the visor up. This is with it down. Just because it's winter and I'm outside, it's going to get dark before this is over. So we'll just have to deal with that lighting. Hopefully next month I'll be in a co-working space and I just can film like normal. Oh, yeah. Also, we're filming vertically today. I'm doing that on purpose because YouTube's doing that thing where if you film vertically, they start putting your stream in the, what is it called? The shorts feed. At least it says that. But I don't know. I've been scrolling through shorts, and I've been using shorts a lot more lately. But I've never come across a live stream in shorts. So I don't really know if that's true, but they said that they want our live streams to be vertical, and if they're vertical, they'll promote it in the shorts feed. Oh, also, guys, I don't know if any of you are on Threads, which is, well, now it says an Instagram app, but originally it was through Facebook. It's like the new Twitter. But I just set up a Threads for this channel. I honestly don't know if I'm going to use it, but it's set up now. So if you guys want to follow me, I think it's just my channel name. And if not, you can look up my Instagram, which is just the MarkGoudy, and there should be a link in the bio on Instagram that links you to Threads, so you can follow me on both. So yeah, that's set up now. New Day Revolution says, have you been feeling lonely since moving? Does your mama know you moved? No, she doesn't know, and as far as I know, she doesn't care. I have not heard from my mom since October of last year. And every once in a while I get a call from her nursing home. They just leave a voicemail. I have not called back, but it's just because I've been busy. And it's usually to tell me something completely random and disconnected from anything that I know that's going on. They'll just tell me some random update about like, oh, like we just got our test results back. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, nobody told me that anything was going on, but no, she just, I don't know what her issue is, but it's really tough because I don't want to miss out on time with my mom, but I can't let her treat me the way that she does. And I did, when I was still seeing the therapist, I talked to her about that, and she agreed with that. That, like, I can't let her treat me like that, and I can't just, come back and check in with her after that happened, because it shows her that it's fine to act that way. So I don't really know. No, she doesn't know I moved. In fact, she doesn't even know that I moved back to Columbus. Yeah, she has no idea where I am at. And as far as your other question, feeling lonely, I guess I could say yeah, but it's more so like I really just want somebody to be like a like a like a good close friend. Like I don't really need to be dating, and certainly, I mean, like, I don't really think I can be in contact with any of my family. But well, so I think I mentioned this to you guys last live stream, or maybe the one before that, but I found pretty much what I needed. It didn't work out, but I did. I met somebody that I really connected with, and even though for because of some circumstances, it's not somebody that I would have like committed to like in a full like relationship and seen them as like a life partner. She ended up being like a really good friend, and that's exactly what I needed. Um, and I'll be honest, like I'm not over that. Um, that has I still think about that every day, and it hurts. I don't know why she disappeared, and you know, like I told you guys before, I mean, yeah, she ended up buying a house with the person she told me not to worry about, um, which was her roommate, supposedly, this girl she was living with. But I mean, even if she wanted to, be with that girl, like, I wish she would have just said that, and then like we could have stayed friends, and I would have been much more happy with that. Um, so yeah, and then since that happened, and that was in when was that? September was when she disappeared. Um, so since that happened, I haven't really met anyone else. Of course, it's difficult too because I did just move. So I don't know. And it's really tough because you can't just meet like friends. Like even if they just turn into being friends, like you kind of have to meet them on a dating app, which I'll tell you guys about. Yeah, I'll tell you guys about that in a minute. Let me get back to the rest of the comments, and then remind me if I don't say it, and I'll tell you. Let me tell you about what happened on Bumble. Let's see. Well-behaved wallet says, "Oh, Mark, props to you for hanging in there." Yeah, it's tough. It's like either choice I make is wrong, basically. I don't like being put in that position, but I don't know what else to do. I mean, as you guys can see, I have a lot of toxic people in my life, and I'd like that to not be the case, and I didn't ask, I didn't ask to be put in that position for it to be the case, but I'm trying to learn to, like, set boundaries and make peace for myself, and it just happens to not be great that, like, sort of the hand I was dealt in life is mostly toxic people. So in order for me to be away from all that, I have to kind of just be on my own. Okay, Johan says, "Hi, what is the purpose of locating small business development center?" I missed the first part of that chat. So I'm not sure if it's even a thing in North Carolina, but in Ohio, usually every county has at least one, but it's an organization that essentially gives you free business coaching, and they'll help you with different aspects. Sometimes it's like marketing or social media, or they'll walk you through the process of creating an LLC and to get you to understand local tax issues and stuff. I just wanted to see if there's any of that, because a lot of that stuff I'm going to have to do eventually anyway on my own. But if I can find a local organization that can do part of that work for me, I just realized my hair is falling down. I didn't put any product in it. I just blew dry it, blow dried it, blew dry it. I don't know, but apparently I can't use grammar anymore. But I did that and put some water in it, so it's falling down now. But yeah, the Small Business Development Center helps with a lot of things you need to start a small business that a lot of times you have to pay for or spend a lot of time learning it on your own. And a lot of times they'll do some of that stuff for free. So as far as possibly helping me get marketing set up and I don't know, maybe even getting some kind of capital investment. Sometimes they give grants, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to look into that. Also, guys, at some point, I'm probably going to have to turn the car on and just run it so it'll charge the phone. Not yet, but just so you know, at some point there'll be that background noise. Okay, and so before I forget, I'll tell you guys about what happened on Bumble. I think it was last stream, I told you guys about the girl I was just talking about that I met on Tinder, and then we ended up being really good friends until she disappeared the one day, and then I found out that she bought a house and was in a relationship with the girl that she told me that was just her roommate. So clearly that didn't work out, and I'm still, like I said, I'm pretty hurt by that, because I made a friend who understood what I was going through with all the other stuff, and then just disappeared. So anyway, since I've been down here, I have not been on any dates. I know you guys said you wanted to stay up on that, so I don't have any videos to make about any horrible date stories, but I did want to tell you this. when I got down here, I matched with a girl on Bumble. And like, as a guy, it is rare to get a match. Like, I can swipe, well, there's like a daily limit, but I can swipe on literally hundreds of profiles, and I might get one match a month. And I mean, I know that like this is gonna kind of sound like super conceited, but like I know I'm better looking than average. And you know, yeah, my life's a disaster right now, but people don't know that. They just go by photos when they're swiping. So I would say that I have probably better luck than most. And like I said, I don't really get matches. So I was down here like maybe a week or two, and um, I get this match with this girl. And of course, as a guy, when you get a match, okay, you first think that it's a bot. So, I go through the process, and I'm like, well, no, it looks like a pretty legit profile. And we start talking, and um, she said something about on her profile about like she doesn't so much like to talk forever. She'd rather meet up in person. So I just asked her. I was like, hey, since you said this, do you want to just get together? And she's like, yeah, cool. And she's like, what do you want to take me to? And I was like, uh, so I just said like, oh well, let's just meet up, get to know each other, talk, and like maybe grab lunch or something. Um, and this is where it got weird. I was like, what about Chipotle? Because like, well, one, it's my favorite restaurant. It's also relatively cheap, relatively healthy, and it's all over the city. Like, there's a lot of positives. See, my philosophy is I don't care who you are. Like, I don't care if I'm meeting you for business. I don't care if you're somebody I'm dating. The first time we meet up, I'm not going to spend any money. Like, I mean, maybe some money. Like, I don't have a problem like buying their food. I don't have a problem like that, but I'm not gonna, I guess I'm very low key because I just want to get to know them and see how the vibe is between us. Um, and I'm not gonna spend a lot of money. Not just because I don't have money, but when I had money, I like never would do that. Um, there wasn't any reason to, because for me, fancy stuff and like expensive stuff, that's stuff that I will do in a relationship. Um, as like something because the other person enjoys it, or because it's like, I don't know, like just something special for them. But some random person that I don't know who, um, I don't know, that more likely than not, this is probably going to be the only time I ever see them, because, most people don't get a second date. Um, I'm not going to spend a lot of money, right? I just want to see how we get along first. So anyway, I said Chipotle, and this girl said something like, I don't really like that establishment. And I, God, what did she say? It was something really awkwardly worded, but it said something about, I don't like this establishment. Um, and I generally don't like chain restaurants. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, we can try a local place. Like, where do you want to go? And she says, generally, I go somewhere. Oh, God, what was it? I can't remember what it was, but it was ridiculous. She said something about, I generally go somewhere, and there were two things. One of them was that the restaurant needed to have a dress code. And, oh, well, I think the other thing, she said something about it being upscale. Something about being, well, I generally go to this like upscale place, um, and places that have dress codes. And I'm like, I don't know you. Um, like, this is real weird. And so I did something. I looked up the most expensive restaurant in Charlotte just to see what she would do. And I looked up this place, and there's this place, I can't remember the name of it, but it's just like a little house, and there's like a private chef. And it's like $300 a person. And so at this point, I'm like, I am no way in hell am I taking this girl to like a 5-star restaurant for a first date. So, I didn't say I was gonna take her, but I just asked her about this place. And she's like, "Oh, is that where you'd like to take me?" She's like, "Yeah, I guess that would be okay." And she was like trying to like downplay it. Or maybe she wasn't, like maybe she really like really that was her actual attitude toward it. I don't know, guys. I I can't get over like the audacity of this person to just be like, "No, like you need to take me to a 5-star restaurant to even meet me." And I'm just like, because I don't know. It was weird. I don't know. Maybe you guys don't even agree with me that like she was like out of line. Um, I just thought that was a ridiculous request. Well-behaved wallet says, it's a bummer that woman ghosted you." Yeah, that's seems to be a pattern that keeps happening to me. And to be honest, the every time it happens again, it like reopens that wound, and it's becoming like a complex that I have that I didn't used to have. Um, that this keeps happening. Yeah, and then you said, but I think you mentioned that she was willing to ignore her kids to spend time with you. Maybe not the best start to a relationship. Um, yeah, so I think the thing is, I don't know, like, yeah, the thing about her kids and the ignoring the kids is that, okay, so she had 2 kids. Um, I don't like kids, and I wouldn't date anybody that has them. So that's part of why I said, like, we really got along, and this person became a good friend. Like, yeah, there's some romantic interest there, but like, this is not a person that I'd see as a long-term partner because clearly, like, the kids thing is just not going to work for me. Um, so what she was doing though is like most anybody that I talk to who has kids will like mention their kids. Um, she really didn't. Every once in a while she'd say like, "Yeah, I'm like in the process of putting my kids to bed," or something like that. But it was very little compared to other people with kids that I've talked to. Um, and like we had a trip planned. We were gonna go. She's kind of counterculture a little bit. Like she was like an organic farmer and she wore tie dye and stuff. So we were gonna go to this fungi foraging festival. And we were gonna car camp in the back and just like camp out for the weekend. We had this whole thing planned. Well, anyway, um, it was like not a problem for her to just go. Where like I think a lot of people with kids would not do that because they wouldn't be away from them. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Like that was weird to me. Like the it was nice, but I also it was nice that she was making space for me because a lot of women with kids don't do that. But at the same time, like I did also recognize that it wasn't necessarily a good thing what she was doing um with the kids. I knew it wasn't good for her to like sort of ignore them. I mean, it was beneficial for me, but then like I knew it wasn't good for them. So yeah, it was just a weird situation. That's why I'm saying like I think that and especially knowing later on that she's actually dating her roommate, I think it would have been much better if we just would have stayed like good friends. I think that would have been much more sustainable. So I don't know though. It was basically, it literally came down to the day that she signed the documents buying that house. That was when she basically stopped talking to me, other than like one other time she reached out. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Chelsea says you're a 7.5 in West Virginia, and that means you're a 5 in North Carolina. I don't know. I would argue I'm a little higher than that in West Virginia, but I will say I am not popular in West Virginia. I actually have a much better chance here. Um, I'm not, well, I mentioned Larry the Cable Guy earlier, and that's probably a good example. I have no cultural similarities to him, and that seems to be what women there want. They don't want someone who bathes or is literate, from my experience. So I have almost zero luck in West Virginia, and you know, my ex, really the only reason that worked was because she also is not like being from West Virginia. Like culturally, she's not like that area at all, and same with me. Um, and because otherwise, I don't think she'd be interested in me at all. Um, no, maybe it's true. I'm a 5 in North Carolina. I don't know. Um, to be fair, though, I haven't seen. I don't know what the beauty standards are here. I haven't seen or noticed that people here are more attractive than in West Virginia. So I don't know what that difference would be. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to stay consistent with this. I actually I kind of thought the people in North Carolina were less good looking, but that was just my impression from dating apps before I got down here. I'm not sure about the whole general public. Johan says, feels like I just interacted with a celebrity. I don't know if you're talking about me. I don't know. I don't know what celebrity. Or if you're talking about that girl that wanted the 5-star restaurant. I don't know what that was about. That was weird, man. Like, and look, unless it's like completely off-putting, just because somebody's a little different doesn't mean I won't like give them a shot and get to know them. She ran a professional cattery, for one thing. I had no idea what that was. She's a cat breeder. She sells cats. So she's like a professional cat lady. She has 6 of her own that live in her apartment. I was willing to look past that. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. New Day Revolution. I've seen a video about some women going on dates just for the benefit of free food. Yeah, I've heard of that. I guess it's possible that she was doing that, but not sure. I should try that. I'm not really gonna, I mean, I don't think I would do that. Or if I did, I'd just see their reaction and then just tell them I'm joking. But I was just seeing if that would work for a guy. Next girl I match with, tell her she has to take me to a 5-star restaurant. Sandra says, sometimes friendships are far better than relationships. In a way, it's more liberating, and real good friends won't judge or abandon you when things go south. I mean, I think overall, friendships are more important to me than relationships. Like with my ex, we broke up years ago, and then, I mean, clearly we got back together, but there was a period of a couple years there that we were separated. And the thing was, during that period, I was upset about the relationship ending, but I missed my best friend, and that's what I wanted back. And when she did come back into my life in 2019, that's how she came back. That's what she was supposed to be. I mean, it was her doing, but I don't know exactly how it got turned back into a relationship. But when I let her back into my life, it was with the understanding that we were gonna be best friends again. That was the important bit. And I think now, um, as far as relationships and stuff, I think that it's more important. I think that it's a lot better to have a few solid friendships um, before you start dating. Just, I guess, to have that support structure there. Um, I think maybe that makes you a little less needy toward the person that you're seeing. But I mean, I'm 38 and I'm completely starting over in my life. I've lost everything because of this relationship, and so I'm just starting out each individual piece like that. I've got to sort of find again and build myself a support network again. And it's going to be a long process because it's hard to make friends when you're old, hard to even meet people as friends. So yeah. TMUSA says you all need to Google unclaimed money in your state and search your name. I found money I was owed. I'll do that. I haven't done that for a long time. I know when I talked to my mom last, she found money in her name and she's working toward trying to get it. It's a little more difficult with her because she doesn't even have a current license. So she was trying to get all that stuff taken care of so she could claim it. Yeah, and then search for every state you've lived in. Well-behaved wallet. Oh, that makes sense. If the ghost woman, she was splitting custody with her. Wait. If the ghost woman, she was splitting custody with her kids, then she might have more free time. So as far as like what I understand was happening with the kids, the girl that she ended up being in a relationship with, who, and she bought that house with, she would just take care of the kids. She has kids herself, and so the story was that the girl I was talking to, she met me soon after she separated from this guy that she'd been with for 8 years. And I mean, she was 26, 27, something like that. But essentially, she grew up in the hood, grew up on the streets, basically. Just like worst family situation ever. And then when she was around 19, she met this guy. He had been hurt. He'd actually been run over by a street sweeper, and he was like paralyzed from the waist down. And so she essentially made a business arrangement with him. They never got married, but it was that basically she would be like his live-in girlfriend and would take care of him. And then, you know, he would house her and all this stuff. And the kids were like part of a business agreement too, because he wanted kids. She said she'd never wanted kids, and I think she kind of alluded that she regretted having them. But, so, I mean, it was nice to me that she didn't want more. That was a concern. And so, um, and then, I don't know, I guess I don't really understand fully how, like, that all ended, but apparently she met me, like, a month after she'd actually moved out. She ran to her female friend's place to get away from him, but she did say that her ex had accused her of having some kind of relationship with this girl, when she said that what was really going on is just that they both wanted to raise their kids the same way, like her and this other girl. They had like the same kind of parenting philosophy, and so their kids were friends. They spent a lot of time together, um, and that's why they were living together, is just to like raise their kids together in the same method. Um, and then of course I find out that that's not the case, which makes it all the more weird. Is when I picked up this girl, like for the first date we went on, I actually went to this house and that other girl was there. And I just like remember her like looking at me when I I don't when I picked her up. I don't know. Like, knowing what I know now, it's so weird, and I don't know what was going on. And it's not like the girl like wanted anything from me. I mean, attention maybe, but like she never asked for money. I mean, I bought her one meal when we were out. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what she got out of it. Well-Behaved Wallet says, as a girl who has been on the apps for a bit, I always appreciated a low-stakes meeting place for a first date. Yeah, I like food. I usually try to involve food. But somewhere relatively cheap. I don't do, because people ask to go get coffee or go for a drink. Well, I don't drink coffee and I don't drink alcohol, so that's not going to work for me. But I will do food. And I usually try to either go to a place where we can just like sit down and talk while we're eating, like in the restaurant, or to like, I always say like, oh, if it's warm enough out, like we can go do this. And it's generally just to like go walk around a park or something. And I know that this is probably me coming from like a very impoverished background, that I'm just so used to not spending money on anything, that all of my ideas of what to go do are not spending money. That I like find this free stuff to do. And maybe that is weird for people who grew up differently, who grew up with money. Um, but that's the way that I am, is I try to find a place where we can talk so we can get to know each other. I can, figure out what the vibe is like between us. Usually food is involved, and, I like to move around. Um, I think that makes things like less awkward. So if we can just like move around somewhere, like the girl that goes to me, we went to we got food, we went to a park, and we hiked a trail out to a waterfall, and like, I don't know what it's called. I was gonna say waded out into the water, but not that deep, just like foot level. SB says, Mark, get a $2 Powerball ticket for tonight's $620 million jackpot. I guess $2 isn't bad. I haven't bought a lottery ticket since I was in high school. You're not supposed to be able to buy them in high school, but I would buy them for my grandparents and they never ask questions. But I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't hurt me too bad to lose $2. But at the same time, I'm sure the chances of winning that are pretty large. TMUSA says, all I needed to give was address and social security number. Make sure it's a .gov legit site. I got my money 4 days after requesting. Shocking. I do remember one of the states has something for me. I think it's Ohio. I can't remember. I just remember when I've looked it up before, it was on there, but I didn't look into it to see what it was. New Day Revolution says LOL at Ghost Woman. Yeah. So I try to avoid putting people's names out here. So that's why I'm like being vague. Yeah, I don't know. Um, but then the other, well, the other complication is that with me living here and then planning to go back to Ohio in April or May, if I did find someone like seriously, like that, I was like seriously dating, like she's gotta she's gotta be okay with being a free range girlfriend. Um, I used that term with my ex because she always needed a lot of space, and I pretty much just gave her that. Um, she came and went as she pleased, and sometimes she'd disappear for a few weeks. Um, and she always came back. So it's just like a free range animal, and that's kind of what we worked out over the years. This would be a little bit different. It's just gonna have to be like, hey, I'm gonna be here half the year. You can come visit in Ohio if you want, but you don't have to. Um, you're gonna have to be okay with being long distance for half the year. Um, I mean, somebody would have to have definitely a secure attachment style for that. I'm not saying that's not possible that I would find that, but it's going to make it more difficult than most people because, most people, if they can avoid it, they probably wouldn't want to do a long distance thing. Of course, it'd be cool if I found somebody to go on the road. I will say, actually, I met a girl, well, met, as in, like, I guess I encountered the profile of a girl who is actually a van lifer, so that could totally work. Um, except I don't think she wants anything to do with me. I saw her at OkCupid. I sent her like an intro, like a pretty detailed message about like how I essentially do van life. My circumstances are a little bit different, but I'm essentially doing van life. I didn't get any response, and then a few weeks later, I was on Meetup, like the app where you can join groups and go to events and stuff, and I was on there to try to get involved in some stuff. I was especially looking for a group that goes hiking. I haven't found that yet, but anyway, I saw her. I saw the same girl on one of the groups I joined, so I sent her a message. I didn't get a response, so I'm assuming she's not interested. But yeah, I mean, a van lifer who is also mobile, that would be an option as well. No, clearly I can't have anybody else live in this car. It's way too small. I'm actually even confused when I watch those van life stuff on YouTube. Where like two people live in a van. I'm like, I couldn't do that. Even if I had a dog in the van, that would probably be way too crowded for me. Because I was thinking, if you guys remember Marilyn from my live streams, she was the Chihuahua that lived with me in Athens. I think it'd even be crowded if she was there. Oh, hey, Max. Thank you. Max just sent a $2 super chat. He said, thanks for the great content this year, Mark. Well, I can guarantee you that it'll be better next year. Not only will I be able to make a little bit more as far as content, but I'll also be able to start bringing in some of that old content, however I figure out to put it on the channel. There's a lot. There's so much on my phone. My phone, it has 1 terabyte memory, so I haven't run into any storage issues yet, but I've got to have at least 100 gigabytes of video. Because I just filmed, I was planning on doing YouTube full time starting in 2021. It was like during COVID. I had my unemployment coming in because everybody had the unemployment COVID stuff and the stimulus checks. Like, I didn't, not that I could have worked anyway, but I didn't need to work, and I had the time to do YouTube. But then of course the girl started taking up all of my time because of her situations she created. So I didn't end up getting to do that, but I got as far quite a few times as actually filming all the raw footage. It's just that I've never gotten to actually edit any of that and get it ready to actually be watched. So you guys can comment on it now, or you can sorry, there's another car. So you guys can either comment on it now, or if you're watching this back later, just mention it in the comments. What do you guys think about putting that old content onto the YouTube channel membership platform, and then charging like $1 or $1.99 a month for access to that additional content? So that would just be basically, you'd pay access. I mean, you could do it at that low amount just to support the channel, but it would also give you access to some of those videos. And as I get more and more of them made, there'll be more and more of them on there to access. But you'd have access to all these new ones. And then I could announce it in these streams and say, like, hey, you know, if you guys are channel members, this video went up here. If you're not a channel member and you want to watch that video, go ahead and, you know, subscribe. It helps the channel, that kind of stuff. Max says, have you had any karaoke experience? That's one of my favorite things to do. I've only actually done karaoke once. I mean, it's not something I'd run to do, but like, I like to sing. I mean, I took vocal classes in college, so I'm like okay at singing. I like singing. I don't so much mind singing in front of people. The only time I did it, it was me and another dude. It was another fraternity brother, and we sang a song together. I think we just switched out, like we would do every other verse or something. I forget how we did it, but it's the one time that I did karaoke. It was in 2011 at Red Brick Tavern at OU, and we won. I don't remember what the contest was, but we won because we got a mega mug for free. Okay, TMUSA says, yes, I'd become a channel member if you get videos posted. So I would wait until I get one made, and then I'll probably announce it, like, hey, here's this new channel membership thing I'm doing. Here's how it works. Right now I have one video that is posted on there, and then yeah, in subsequent live streams I'll just have to say, like, hey, here's a new video up on the channel membership page. And it's just going to be that old stuff that I still think that you guys would enjoy seeing. It just doesn't really make sense to post now. It's like me cleaning out my storage unit in 2021. I have a DNA video from 2018 that is actually, I think, almost fully edited, or maybe it is. It took me forever to edit it, And then I didn't end up putting it up in 2020 because of the whole race riot thing, because I thought it was a bad time for me to put up a video talking about how I'm black. So I might put that up now. But again, it's such an old video, it would be weird to just put it up on the channel as is. And one of the videos that I think that you guys will probably find the most interesting is I filmed it's sort of a vlog, but it's also for those few short months at the end of 2020 and beginning of 2021 when I was living in the office. I filmed an entire video of what that setup was like, how I was living stealth in an office, and like how I even had like the bathroom and the kitchen set up in there. So all that's on my phone. I just need to get it all edited. So anyway, that's what I'm going to try to do. And that's how I'm going to pitch it, is basically like, here are these videos. They're finally up. Go watch them over here. But also, if you just want to help me out, like, you know, pay the $1 a month or whatever. And if you think about it, my expenses are pretty low. I do have some additional expenses most people don't have. Like, I've like a $527 a month student loan payment that kills me every month. But like, for the most part, like, I don't have rent or utilities, so my expenses are lower than most people's. But what that means is that, like, as the channel grows and as a few people are willing to pay, you know, $1, $2, $5 a month, let's say it's a consistent percentage of people that are willing to do that, a small percentage of people who subscribe to the channel. Well, those people, as the channel grows, the number that is in that percentage gets larger. And it's not like that what I make every month needs to be that high to like actually make a difference, to actually pay a bill or something like that. And so that's what I'm planning. John Doe says, does it make sense to stop paying the student loans? What exactly could they take from you? Well, I mean, I'm really behind on them. Like the private ones. I haven't defaulted, but I'm really behind. The reason I'm so damn behind on them, I mean, other than like all the stuff going on in my life, they've literally doubled in the last year. My payment is $527 a month. It was $217 a month last year for the same loans. The reason that it's so high is because they've raised the interest rate so much. And then they raised the minimum payment to cover paying off, I think it's like 1 penny more than the interest that's accrued. And that's what's killing me. So, I mean, realistically, so I'm looking at this from a traditional perspective. I'm trying to pay my debts. I'm trying to do things the way you're supposed to do them. That's why I continue to try to pay the bills. But from a purely, like, if I was looking at this as like a business decision of like what's the best, oh God, yes, I should default. I mean, my credit's already messed up from the payments that I've missed or been late on. I should just let them default. I'm not going to do that because I really am trying to get caught up. But like, looking at it as a business decision, that is the best decision. Because that's $500 and some a month I don't have to come up with every month. And you're right, I see your second comment. They can't garnish your self-employment. That's true. It's not like you need good credit score for an apartment. That's true. I say just stop paying. Well, the other thing is, though, I do, because this car has 238,000 miles on it. It's still dependable, but I mean, I don't know how long it's going to last, and I don't have money to get a new car. So when it does die, I need to, well, one, be making enough money and have some form of proof of income, but also they're going to check my credit, because I'm going to have to get a car loan. So that is one thing that I do need decent credit for. And then you said we all got pressured to go to college and take predatory student loans out. I don't see it as a bad thing personally, but that's just me. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. I will say that a lot of people that comment on this channel would disagree with you. I get a lot of comments like that. But I'm trying to do the right thing. But I may still default anyway, no matter how hard I'm trying. It just depends on what the next couple months look like. The thing is, well, I think you guys know a lot of my backstory. Like, my parents lied to me about paying for college, told me not to apply for any scholarships because they were paying for everything. And then I got into a good school. They wouldn't let me go. And so it was because my dad was a professor at the community college. I had to go for free. But then he got fired before I started. So not only did I lose out on the school I was supposed to go to, which was a good school, and I would have had financial aid there. And then they, well, one, didn't pay for anything like they said they would. And two, my dad got fired, so I had to pay anyway to go to the community college. So then the other issue is that when, well, my mom lied to me, told me that since my parents got divorced when I was in first grade, that she had been saving the money that my dad had been paying in child support, that she had been saving that, and that I didn't need to worry about paying for college because all the money she'd saved over the years was going to pay for that. And I mean, I never saw this bank account. Now, turns out my dad only paid $90.75 a month in child support. And he also stopped when I was 16. For some reason, he just refused to pay anymore. But like, I didn't realize it was that little. And then, of course, when it came time for my mom to spend that money, my mom acted like she had no idea what account I was talking about and that I was crazy. Because she just took all the money out of it. And then I so I did the 2 years at my dad's community college, then I transferred to OU. And they screwed me over. Well, partly my parents, partly the college. See, my dad, since he'd got fired from his job, he had cashed out his retirement that year. And so it looked like he made a lot of money, like over $100,000 in 2005 money. So there was no way that I could get financial aid based on my parents' income. I mean, that wasn't intentional. That's just something that happened. But then he wouldn't give me the paperwork to even turn into the college. And then the college lost my paperwork twice. They selected me for verification for the FAFSA and then lost my paperwork. And then, so like, I was basically going to school and I was like mid-quarter before I even found out it wasn't paid for. and that's how I ended up taking out the first loans, is because I got put in that position. So, and I mean, I could go on and on, like I can go through all the years I was in college and how, like, my parents' decisions did, like, put me in that position. And yeah. So anyway, SB says, yeah, I was going to mention the fact that Mark needs a car. Also, they will garnish your Social Security. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, to be fair, though, I don't know. I'm a millennial. I don't know any millennial that thinks that Social Security will still be around by the time we retire. I mean, the boomers are going to ruin that. John Doe says, if he defaulted now, the statute of limitations would run out way before he could collect Social Security. Okay. Even if we even have that one day. Yeah, exactly. SB says there are no statute of limitations for student loans and they're not dischargeable in bankruptcy. That is not true. I don't know if there's a statute of limitations on federal student loans, but the federal student loans I'm not even paying. I mean, I signed up for that new SAVE plan. I never heard back from Nelnet, so I have no idea if they approved it or not, but I'm also not paying them because I just don't have the money. So I'm either under the plan where my amount is $0 a month, or I'm just not paying them and they haven't contacted me. But there is a statute of limitations for private student loans, which is what I'm paying the $527 a month for. It depends on your state, and it kind of depends. There's some discrepancy about whether it's the state you resided in, the state that you attended the college in, the state where you signed the paperwork. There's some debate about that, but under whose statute of limitations. But yeah, there is. And that's why those other loans that I defaulted on years ago are past the statute of limitations. And so those are not collectible. Now, discharging in bankruptcy, that is true of federal loans, but it's a little more questionable with private loans. Generally, they're found not to be dischargeable in bankruptcy, but recently there have been a few cases where they are being discharged. So that's something you're going to have to prove if you try to do that with the court. John Doe says, false. There is a statute of limitations on when they can sue you for them. He could get past that period and then they cannot collect. That's true, John. Although the statute of limitations is not so much on whether they can sue you. They can sue you like 50 years later. It wouldn't make sense for them to do that because you can raise the affirmative defense of it's past the statute of limitations. So, I mean, they're free to sue you, but when you write that first, motion to dismiss or whatever hearing you first go in front of the judge, you're going to say, hey, this is from like 20 years ago. Like, they don't have the right to collect on this. SB, I should clarify there is no statute of limitations. Yeah, for federal student loans. Okay, yeah, there is for private ones, yeah. And almost all of mine are private. I do have federal student loans, but they're a total of, I think, about $34,000. They've torn them apart into different loans and then reconsolidated them. I think they're in 2 chunks right now. And then there's a third one that I paid off a long time ago. I think there's 2 chunks left. One is, I think, $32,000 and the other one's like $2,000. But yeah. John Doe says, yeah, federal ones are income-based, though. He would pay like $30 a month on those. Private ones are the predatory ones. So I paid, I think it was about $65 a month toward my federal loans before COVID. And the new plan is supposed to cut that payment in half. So I'm assuming, yeah, I probably would pay around $30 a month. But I went on the save plan, and when I applied for that, it said it would actually be $0 a month. But the issue is, I never heard anything back from Nelnet after I applied for that. And so Biden said that there was like a 13-month some sort of window where technically your payments are due, but if you don't pay them, they're not going to do anything to you. So I'm kind of in that window right now, just because I literally can't pay it. So it's just not going to get paid. And they'll probably make some other change before we get to that point anyway. Okay, I don't know how loud this is gonna be. The phone's down to 40%, so I'm just gonna, here, we'll turn the, oh, you guys are shaking. Okay, well, I guess you're just gonna have to deal with the shaking. Because the car runs kind of rough, and you're in the phone holder, so that's why it's shaking. Okay, so, TMUSA, Mark, do you use Spotify, or how do you listen to music? I do use Spotify. You should be able to follow me. It's literally just my personal account, but you guys are welcome to follow. It's just under my name. And I do use Spotify. I honestly don't use Spotify very often. I was surprised I even had a year-end Wrapped this year, because a couple years ago I didn't even listen to it enough to even get one of those. But mostly what I use Spotify for is listening to podcasts, and I use that mostly for when I'm working. I like what I do as far as building the furniture, and I can just sort of like zone out and do my own thing. But it gets boring if there's nothing to listen to. And so I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, and that's just what I use to listen to them on. As far as other music, I don't really. I've noticed in the last year, I hardly ever even turn the radio on in the car. And any music that I do listen to is pretty much whatever Spotify recommends to me. There is a song that I guess was my top one last year. It was one of the ones that Spotify recommended to me based on what I listened to. It's SR71 is the band. It's an older pop punk band, and there's a song called Mosquito. So if you guys listen to the lyrics of that song, you'll understand, I think, why. I don't know how it got targeted toward me. I think you guys will know what that song's about if you listen to the lyrics of it. SP says, true, Mark. I am Gen X and don't feel like Social Security will be there for me either. So yeah, and it's not just being like pessimistic about Social Security. It's just, I mean, it's kind of that, but it's not only that. It's just that, like, okay, great. The battery's going down even though it's charging. But like, just knowing how much money is in Social Security, knowing how many boomers there are, it just doesn't seem like that's going to be there. Like, I just think that they're going to bankrupt the system. So I'm not planning on that being an option, I guess. All right. Oh, okay. All right, SP's got to go. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Yeah, I hope you kind of, I'm going to try to take a moment tomorrow and get my headset in, like, it's Christmas time, so hopefully you can do the same. I will, oh, TMUSA says, I love true crime. Are you following the Dan Markle murder? He was murdered in 2014, but people are still in court. No, I haven't heard of that. So I started listening to podcasts when I worked at Candid, which is the tech company in Columbus. And I had like the Spotify, like the actual program on my MacBook Air, and I would listen to it while I was doing my work. And one of the things that I was listening to at the time was there's the Justice for Jalea podcast. I know the girl that made it. And Jalea is a girl from like my area that she died or was killed. No one's really sure. But like there's all this mystery around her death. And this podcast was setting out trying to like solve it, which they didn't at all, but they did dig up like a lot more information that was there than that was there before. And from there, I mostly listen to local stuff. There is one that I listen to called Buried Bones, and it's Paul Holes, who is like an old cop, and they interview him on a lot of these different shows. But it's him going over cases from the past. And they just, like, he does a forensic analysis of it based on how they would do it now, compared to how it was investigated at the time. And some of the cases are like as recent as like the 1970s, and some of them are back in like the 1600s. So it's like all over the place. So I do listen to that. And then there's one called Violence in the Valley. It's actually the old chief of police from my hometown. Well, he was the chief of police, and then he was the mayor, and then he got removed from office for sex crimes. But he's the host of it, and so anyway, it's all like local missing persons and disappearances and murders and stuff. And he actually does talk a lot about like when he was on the police force and what their investigation into it was like. So I listened to those. And then there's Mountain State Mysteries, which I will say is, the hosts are not good. They can barely speak. But occasionally they'll cover a case that I like. And then I follow anything to do with Gretchen Fleming. You guys, I know we've mentioned her on a previous live stream. She's been missing for a year now. And like I told you, it was under similar circumstances to how my ex almost went missing from the same place. So I really follow that quite a bit. And then, and there's one called Who Lies Beneath, which, I mean, I'm into history, and if you're not into history, this probably is going to sound like the most boring podcast ever. But there's so in Athens, there is an old insane asylum, and the cemeteries, they don't have names, they just have numbers on the stones. And so they're doing this podcast series where one of the historians from the university has gone into the university archives and like looked up these people's like admissions records and stuff, like getting to know like where they're from, and like they tell their story. So it'll say like, you know, I'm gravestone number whatever, my name was this, and like here's my story. And it'll talk about where they came from, and like what can be known about like their diagnosis. And so they're doing that. And actually, I will link it in a video if this happens. I should be featured on season 3. They just wrapped up season 2. I should be featured on season 3 because my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Michael Archer, died in the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. He was there for 35 years for chronic mania. And he He has an unmarked grave in one of the cemeteries. So if I've put in a submission, and if my story's selected, they're going to have me do some voice acting in the podcast, and then they'll just profile him basically. And there's a good chance they're going to pick it because he's got like an interesting backstory. He was charged with bastardy back in the 1830s, I think. That's like having a child out of wedlock. Although I've read the court documents, he says it wasn't his, and of course they didn't have Maury Povich at time, so who knows. I'm not sure if it was to spite him or what, but the mother named the kid after him. Anyway, so I'm always looking for more podcasts, but I'm very selective about what I actually do listen to. Like, I have to really be into it. But yeah. TMUSA says, I feel like the US cannot let Social Security go broke. Too many people depend on it. / don't save for retirement. Yeah, I mean, I've had to cash out almost all of my retirement to pay my rent last year, and I certainly can't save now. I mean, I see what you're saying about not letting that happen, but just politically, I don't know if that would be the case. And I mean, people definitely will be a lot worse off. But yeah, I mean, something's going to have to be done at that point, whether it's some other country or agency stepping in to give us like foreign aid or something. But that's pretty much the state of where things are right now. I mean, maybe the EU can help us out. John Doe, 2034 is when Social Security goes to a cash in, cash out system. It's going to be wild. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that you only get as much as you paid into it? But I'm also not planning on retiring. So this is something that I might make a video about eventually. But, you know, I wasn't ever really taught about saving for retirement. And then once I was kind of finding out about it, it was like, oh, have an IRA or a 401k, because clearly pensions don't exist anymore. But it was just like, you know, you save for it and you do all this stuff so that you have this money to live off of when you're old. But no one ever told me the option of like, why don't you just own a business? Then you have this income coming from it all the time. You know, as long as you own the business, why don't you have assets automated to pay you money? You know, maybe you own an apartment complex and you have a property manager that runs it. Like, you don't need money. Like, I mean, you need money, but like, it's coming in. You don't need to rely on hoping you saved enough because you're still generating money. I don't know why people never told me about that option. John Doe says, no, like whatever is in the pot is what gets distributed. So I don't know how that's working right now. I don't know if they're like putting more out than they're putting in. TMUSA, I will vote for whoever says that they'll fix Social Security. I'm so mad about the management of the fund. Yeah, who was it that kept saying lockbox? Was that John Edwards? That would have been 2004. Something about a lockbox for Social Security where no money could be taken out for other purposes. But, oh, John Doe says, like right now, you get what you deserve. Once 2034 hits, they can't do that anymore. So you might deserve $1,500 a month, but now you get $400 a month because that is simply all there is. Okay. according to AARP, but who knows what will happen. Yeah, I mean, that's probably how it's set up now, but I'm sure it'll change again by that time. I mean, maybe not for the better, but it'll probably just be different than what they're projecting. Which also, I don't know if you guys know this, you don't have to be old to join AARP. I don't really know why, but apparently you can join at any age. So, you know, if you're somebody that like travels and you want that discount, go ahead and sign up. I mean, it makes sense in a way, but I don't think this is why they did it. But like, a lot of people are retiring early. Clearly not people like us, but like rich people, you know, like crypto bros, stuff like that. People are retiring at like 20 or 25. And those people are joining AARP because they are technically retired. But yeah, I feel like I had so much to go over with you guys, and we hit a lot of the points, but I'm probably forgetting something, like normal. But basically, what I'm gonna do the next few days, it's really awkward because today is Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. And the next day is Christmas. Now, I will be spending Christmas in my car because I don't have a co-working space and every place is closed. I probably should order my Christmas meal tonight. I have the money, I just haven't put it in the order. I've actually even, I don't know, for some reason I'm just like hesitating on even doing it. I might eat gas station food for Christmas. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why I keep putting off ordering this. But maybe I should just do it tonight. Anyway, Christmas is going to be spent in my car because I don't have a place to go and nothing's open to go to. I probably will not go anywhere tonight or tomorrow just because the malls, everything is so crazy busy that, I mean, I don't want to go around that. So the next couple days are going to be interesting. And then probably on the 26th, after I deal with my lawsuit thing, I'm going to go sign up for that new co-working space. So I'll be back on track, be a lot more productive, be able to finish stuff, finish the editing, hopefully, for that video I want to get up by the end of the month. And then I'm just gonna keep trying to make money. And that includes getting caught up with bills, getting things paid off, doing some repairs in the car. There's some stuff that needs done. But essentially, yeah, I'm just trying to continue getting by. TMUSA says, ugh, if Social Security gets cut, I will have my brother knocking on my door to move in. He's 18 years older than me and barely makes it on Social Security now. Yeah, I mean, this kind of cut has happened before, though. I mean, like back in the 80s, they cut, like completely cut off all like mental health care. And that's why like the institutions closed and all the crazy people were on the streets, still are. There was some guy at the gym today that just was like having conversations with people that weren't there, but like, just, but like, that used to be all government funded, and then those were completely cut. So it's not like they haven't done something like that before, where they've just, there was something that was like very necessary, but they just cut it out completely anyway. The new Mrs. Smith says, I'm not sure if you went over it already, but what's the update on the lawsuit? When will you be getting your settlement? Oh, yeah, so I haven't actually gone over that. Okay, so we had a big hearing on December 11th, and I won. like across the board. Like every issue that was brought up, the judge ruled in my favor. So, I received a letter. I got to go pick it up, but I got an email from my virtual mailbox that I have a letter to pick up. I assume that it's what the judge told them they have to send me, but who knows? We did talk settlement, and that might also be included in whatever they sent me. There's going to be some back and forth, because if they did send me an offer, I'm probably going to have to send it back to them and have them rewrite part of it, because if it's just like, hey, we're going to give you this in exchange for you, like, throwing all this out, there's a few things that I need to write in there. I'm like, well, you know, in exchange, like, you know, I reserve the right to do these certain things afterward, because I still need to go back, and I gotta go to the Judicial Investigation Committee and file the complaints against the two judges from before, not the current judge, but the two that caused this whole problem. I want to reserve the right to file the complaint against the police officer who gave out my information. I don't think I'm actually going to do that, but I just want to keep that. And I have to go back to court and get my gun rights, like my Second Amendment rights that I don't have anymore. I actually have to go back to court and fight for that. Now, I do think that I've lined up an organization that's going to help fund that and pay for an attorney to do that. Live in the South, it's not that hard to find people who are willing to give you money so you can get guns. Not that I want the guns, it's just I shouldn't have any rights taken away from me over this. So I found funding for a lawyer to do that. But I want to specifically put in the agreement, like, when I say I'm going to drop all this, I'm dropping the lawsuit. Like, there are loose ends that I'm going to tie up that I still need it to be expressly stated that I'm not giving up, that I am going to have to go after. So stuff like that. And I want to make sure that those things are in it. So it's not as quick as they may have just sent me paperwork and I can sign it and send it off. I also don't know what I'm getting. I mean, they've mentioned the settlement a couple times. They've never mentioned any kind of number. There was some talk of her paying me back some of the money that she borrowed, but that's super unclear about whether that's going to happen. So I'm just going to have to see. And I'm purposefully not even picking up the letter until after Christmas, because I feel like whatever is in it is going to upset me. So I'm literally just going to go the day after Christmas and pick it up, and then I will see what I need to do with it at that point. So I don't really have an answer to you any more than that. That's really all that's going on. Well, I had to send in my final witness list. I did that. My evidence exhibits, and I have to do like one other thing in January if this goes past, I think, the 5th. But I just have to list some objections to stuff. There's not that much to do right now, but the thing is, they want to settle. I'm still 50-50 on whether I want to settle or what I want to do, but like, I'm going to see what they say. And that's just kind of where things are right now. I get to wait until after Christmas to deal with whatever it is that they sent me. And it might be good. It might just be like, okay, here you go. Here's everything you wanted. It might be horrible. I don't know. And that's why I'm just waiting, so it doesn't ruin Christmas to get into that. But basically, I mean, we're at least at a point where all the depositions are done. I still don't have a whole lot of answers about things, but I have a lot more than I did. And as much as I'm gonna get, I've got. So now it's just a matter of how long is this going to take to wrap up? Well, TMUSA, no. So, I mean, no, none of that, actually. There's no way for that to happen, even just the way that it, like, the legal system's set up, there's no way for that to happen. Either one of those things. So, the way that it works is, in order for the restraining order to be lifted, now it's expired. It expired October of last year. So it's not in effect, but the order is still there on public record. And like, also I'm on that National Domestic Violence Registry as a result of it, because if they issue the order, they have to put you on that. That's a West Virginia specific rule, but that's, yeah. So those are two issues right there. So even if the order was rescinded in any way, I'm still on that registry. There's no way off of it. That damage is done and can't be undone. Now, technically, there could be a way that the court could undo, I guess you said like lifted, the original order, right? Well, there's no vehicle to do that, except through the appeals process. And so the circuit court didn't hold a hearing on it like they were supposed to. The Supreme Court refused to hear it. They're required to, but they refused to hear it. So at no point in the process, under the only circumstances under which it could have been repealed, was that done. And so my lawsuit is for the damages that caused, not to actually have it lifted, because that's not even possible. So, you know, even if I would go to court, we go through the entire trial, the jury rules in my favor, and they're just like, oh my God, like, yeah, she just made this whole thing up. The jury doesn't have the power, and the judge doesn't have the power to rescind that order. That's still on the record, and there's nothing that can be done, because even though no one here heard my appeals, I've still exhausted my appeal to every level that was possible. So I'm just completely fucked when it comes to that. Now, supposedly, in 2028, it should come off that domestic violence registry. But because of the nature of that registry, no one but law enforcement has access to it. So I don't have any way of checking to see if it actually comes off, because part of it is that the court that's been the problem, has to actually send in paperwork in 2028 telling them to take it off. And even then, it's still on there, but it just shows that it's past like the window of it being like active. But it still comes up on a background check. It'll show that it existed at one time. And then the second half of that is, you said, off the record. So, no, that's, some of those things might fall off in time. Oh, wow. Hey, Rala79V, thank you. Merry Christmas. Got a 10 euro, super chat. Thank you for that. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. It's Christmas Eve here. So as far as the rest of that is like, while the lawsuit and settling does settle some of the issues, it actually doesn't settle like the main issues. And there's just nothing that can be done for them. It's like, the only thing I can do is kind of tie up the loose ends, like I said, of trying to get my gun rights back, trying to get, eventually get this thing off my record. But that's going to take years because there's a certain amount of time it has to stay on there. And then, you know, and yeah, in the meantime, getting some kind of compensation out of all of this for everything that I've gone through. Yeah, the new Mrs. Smith says settle and get your coins. Well, we'll see. I might get a settlement and still not get anything, because I will tell you that she is claiming, you know, she's a poor waitress that can't afford anything. It's like, well, you hired the most expensive defense attorney in the state. You haven't had a problem paying him. I mean, yeah, you're a waitress, but you're getting money from somewhere. I'm sure you can get the money to pay me too. So that's just a bullshit excuse. But that was something her attorney tried to bring up at that hearing we had back on the 11th. So, I mean, it may be possible that I would get a, you know, some sort of, like, I would win in court and get the money ordered, and then I still don't see anything from it. So that's just a possibility too. But again, Raleigh, you didn't really have a comment other than just Merry Christmas, but thank you again for the super chat on that. So there's not much of an update. It's kind of waiting, but I should know by next live stream, by the end of January, most things should be wrapped up. And then it's sometime in February, I think. No, it's April. I have till April to write those 2 complaints against the judges. Possibility, I might have to go before the Supreme Court and testify as to what happened. Like, I'll have to testify against the judges because they hold like an actual like trial against the judge over what happened. And then, like I said, I will have to go back to court, and I want to do it sooner rather than later to get my gun rights back. And I've got that agency that's willing to pay for that. So I don't have to pay for the lawyer with that, or do all the work myself. And I'm just gonna do my best to tie up loose ends where I can. And I mean, no matter what, she is gonna get out of this without facing any kind of consequences at all. And no matter what, I'm still basically completely fucked over. Even if I get like a few trivial things, you know, this is something that's done a lot of damage, and it's going to continue doing a lot of damage for at least years to come. And that's before I can even deal with all, like, you know, the emotional stuff that it's done. But I, as upset as I am about all of this, there are a lot of things that I want to do with my life. Like, I want to build this channel. I want to focus on doing things for me and what I want to do. And for the last almost 2 years, I haven't been able to do that because I've had to do all this court stuff. And, you know, I do want to get my life together. The only reason I don't have my life together is because of her. Because if you remember, I had that great job. I was making, you know, I got the car paid off, credit cards paid off, everything. I was doing great until she came back into the picture. And so, you know, that's the reason I'm in the position I'm in now. And I'm trying to undo some of that damage, but I spend so much time and money working on the lawsuit for the last 2 years that I haven't been able to accomplish any of the things that would actually make my life better. So that's what I want to make some time for now, but also here in a month or 2 or 3 or 4 or whenever the lawsuit wraps up, to finally get all this stuff out of the way and to have done everything I can do in the limited way that I can, but like everything that I can, I want to have done to make it the best possible outcome for myself, even though it's going to be bad. And I will just start fixing my life, essentially. Now, one thing I will do, if we settle, we go to trial, whatever happens, after it's pretty much finished, except for wrapping up those loose ends, I am going to make a video for you guys explaining some stuff. There's so much of the information that is like private, like her private information, that I can't put out there. But I will make a video about like, here's how things ended up and here's why they went this way. And like, you know, here's what I want to do now. So John says, I'm sorry, Mark, that is so unfair. The laws need to change to make it a felony to falsely accuse. Yeah, I mean, there should be something. So I'll tell you what the law is right now. If you're in West Virginia and you file the DVPO, which is the Domestic Violence Protective Order, that just means it's a protective order of somebody who you either live with or have a relationship with or had a relationship with in the past. It would even be a roommate that would be covered under that. What the penalty is for it being found that it's not true is that you have to pay court costs. It's like $40. So you can go in, you can falsely accuse somebody, you can drag them through all this, make them hire a lawyer, put all this stuff permanently on their record, and if the judge is like, you just made all this shit up, they charge you $40. That's it. So there needs to be something like, and there's supposed to be. So the problem here, I mean, I don't agree that somebody should be able to go into an ex parte hearing. Oh, and I will say that she did admit that she didn't present any evidence. When I talked to her last month, she said that. So she didn't present a single piece of evidence they found in her favor without hearing me. And there is supposed to be a process that's like supposed to keep false accusations from happening. And that's because that second judge, the family court judge, is supposed to, she's supposed to have the burden of the preponderance of the evidence, well, the burden of proof, and she also has to present more evidence than I did. The problem and where everything broke down is that the judge didn't follow the law. He didn't follow the rules at all. And then the subsequent judge after that didn't. I mean, you know, he refused to hold the hearing. He refused to let me have an attorney. He kicked my legal advocate out of the room, which you're allowed to have those. And then the Supreme Court, who was required to hear the case, they just refused. And so the problem so much is not what the law is, it's getting the law to follow the law. And then if they don't, having any kind of recourse. That's really what the issue is. So I guess there are safeguards in place. It's just that nobody actually follows them. And then if they don't follow them, there's nothing you can do about it because there's no one else to go to. But I do agree with you, you know, as far as things like the Me Too movement and things like that, I'm completely fine, like, if a woman makes an accusation that you believe her. But I think that it needs to be, you believe that she's telling the truth, but you let the other person prove otherwise. It's okay to believe somebody when they make an accusation, but then to subsequently either ignore all evidence to the contrary or prevent the other person from being able to present any evidence to the contrary, that's where there's the problem. And then at the same time, if a man comes forward and makes an accusation, no one believes him in the first place. So that's also an issue. Hey, John Phillip. Hi from London, just logged on. Hey, John. Are you actually from London? I didn't realize you were outside the US. Or are you just there on vacation or something? I'm like, throat's getting sore from talking so much while I'm drinking. So yeah, so that's basically the update on all the legal stuff. And that's pretty much how it's going to end. It's just, I have so much that I want to do for me and for my life, for getting myself financially secure, building myself things like building the channel, getting, you know, my life better situated. And I need to get all of this done so that I can have the time to do that. So, as usual, I think I've forgotten probably half the things I was going to tell you guys. But what I'll do is this. To the best of my ability, I am going to try to get this vlog up. It's a vlog. By the end of the year. Oh, John says, actually, I'm from Australia on vacation in London. Yeah, I think London would be a cool place to be for Christmas. Although it's gotta be cold. But anyway, I'm gonna try to get this video up by the end of the year. It's halfway edited, but I've got to wait until at least the 26th, so that the libraries are back open, or I have access to a co-working space, so I can get it finished. And other than that, we'll do this again next month. I think there's going to be a lot more that has changed by the end of January when we do the next one. And if you haven't commented already, either here or if you're watching this back later in the regular comments, just let me know about the channel memberships for all this video I have on my phone that I need to edit. That's from like 2020, 2021. And if you'd pay like $1 or $2 a month for access to that. Yeah, just let me know about that in the comments. So I don't see any other comments, so I will let you guys go. Even if you're like me and you're not in the Christmas spirit, try to take some time out tomorrow to get there a little bit, to try to enjoy it. And yeah, I will have that video up for you guys here in the next week, and then we'll do this again near the end of January, and I will see you guys then.